So, yeah, we are. All right. So, when we look at these three problems today, it's called point slope form. All right. So, it's still ultimately going to look like y equals mx plus b when we're done. It just starts off a little bit different. You may, after today, say, no, thank you. And that's fine. Or you may say, I like this better than what I did on Friday. Let me use that. Tomorrow, you're going to make that decision moving forward. I am a. What's that? No. I like this method better personally, but it doesn't matter. You just have to choose one. So before we get into that, though, taking a look at this picture here, which one of those equations matches that picture? Would you say it's choice A, B, C, or D? Now, hopefully, you've eliminated two choices right off the bat. Hopefully. Sarah, what do you think? Yeah, which one do you think it is? D. Okay. Hopefully, you're eliminating A and C because they both have negative slopes, and this line is going uphill. John was not apparently. Okay. So it's got to be B or it's got to be D, but in this case, it is D. Okay. Well, the slope is 2. So if you just look at points that are crossing on this path, they are all up 2 and over 1. So it would have to be 2 over 1. Yes. Can you also go from like the first point up to the third point? Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, except now it's up 4 and over 2, which still is 2 over 1. Okay. All right. So 2 goals, really just one, really though. Can I write an equation in point slope form? And then the second one is that's where the choice will come in for you. Like when we say writing in different forms, we're talking, are you a y equals mx plus b person? Or are you going to be this new point slope person? All right. So we'll start with this point slope. Here's what it looks like. And before you go getting all that looks crazy, which some of you already are, right? Just it's really not that bad. And as you look at this, the 3 different colors, those are the parts we got to fill into. Okay, so it gets its name from needing an ordered pair. So an x1 and a y1, like that's the one ordered pair that we have to fill in. And then we also need a slope. But if you look at that formula, it should look really similar to something else that we already know. Oh, didn't you? You just used it. I know, like the y2 minus y1. Yeah. That's not good. Slope formula. Yeah. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? That's the slope formula. That's what this comes from. If you thought about right now, between the slope and this difference in the x's, that's multiplication in between there. If you just simply divided that x minus x1 to the other side, you would have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. It's just the slope formula. Now, the reason that there were little 2's on these x's and y's right here, but we took them off because we don't need 2 ordered pairs. We only need to actually have 1. Okay, what's up? So if we only need 1, then like what's the original y and the original x for? Because when we ultimately write our equation in y equals mx plus b, those 2 will stand for those pieces. So you just fill in like y? Yep. And so that's what we're going to look at. Okay, so we don't really need this because that's what you guys just told me. It really just came from this formula right there. All right, before we do this, just so I can prove to you that we're looking at the exact same thing twice, would you please, from Friday, would you solve this using the method that you know to figure out this equation? So take a second, plug in for y, m, and x, find your y-intercept. So think about what you got to plug in where. So what's your value of y? What's your value of m? Your value of x. Leave b out of it. Solve it for b. You should find your y-intercept. Once you have your y-intercept, you can write your final equation. That 4, look up there. That 4 is negative. So it's negative there. It's negative here, which also makes it negative there. So how do you move that 4 to the other side? How? Add. It's a minus. Right, good. Yep. That's it. Yes, yep. So that would be the last step, would be you writing the equation. That should be you plugging in those pieces. Well, then why did you erase it? So 3 is equal to negative 4 plus b. Add the 4. That tells you that b is equal to 7. So your final answer would be what? Okay. So y equals negative 4x plus 7. Okay, so we know that's the answer, right? Here's how the point slope formula would work in that scenario. We're still plugging in the same 3 values, except they're going to go into where we see the highlighted pieces. So they're going to go in there for y, there for m, and there for x. The only thing you have to be careful about if you decide to use this formula is the same thing you had to be careful about when you were finding a slope. If you were subtracting a negative number, what did you really end up having to do? You end up having to add. So you got to be careful. It's not true in this problem because my order pair doesn't have any negative values. But if it did, I'd have to be mindful that that could be switched into an addition. Okay. How do I know which one to plug into? It'll always be that second one. So it'll always be the second in both situations. Okay. So here's how this would look. I would write y minus 3, because that's the y value. My order pair was a 3, is equal to negative 4, that's m, and then in parentheses x minus 1. So just plugging in those 3 pieces. What do you think you'll do next? You'll distribute, yep. So it'll stay y minus 3 over here is equal to, that would become negative 4x. And then when I do negative 4 times negative 1, that's positive 4. And what do you think the last thing is? Get y by itself, so you'll move the 3 by adding it. So you'll add the 3 to the other side, and it will leave you with y equals negative 4x plus 7. Which is exactly what we said it was going to be, right? We over here on the right-hand side, we found that the y-intercept was going to be 7. We put the 2 pieces together. We got the equation y equals negative 4x plus 7. Yeah. Yeah. Some people would look at this and say that formula is tough to remember. And I would agree with you. It can be. However, if you realize or remember that it just came from the slope formula, it shouldn't be a huge deal. Sierra says, I don't agree. And that's okay. Yeah. So today, though, we are going to practice this idea. After today, if you say no thank you, that's fine. You can say no thank you. You got to give it a chance first. All right. Okay. So 3 problems. So that was number 1. Here's number 2. So I just want you to think about what happens in this situation because that's a negative. So you got to be careful when you plug that in. What are you going to end up with there? What's up? No, today we're using this one. Tomorrow, if you say no, then that's fine. You can say no tomorrow. Yes. So instead of writing y minus, in this case, you're going to end up writing y plus because it's already got a minus in it. Or you may write y minus negative 6 originally if you want to. This makes that haircut almost makes you look human again. You were straight up looking like a woolly bear for a while. Correct. It would be -6 because it's 3 times -2. Because in the formula, you're subtracting the difference between those two. So if you want, originally, you may write that y minus -6, right? Because that's the y value. The m value was a 3, and then here, x minus 2.
From here, would you just -6?
Well, so when you, okay, look at this next point down, I would change this over to now say y plus 6, so that you recognize that you're actually going to subtract that 6 to the other side. That's it. It's really not as bad as you think, is it? Good. What? You started over here working this way? What's going on? Hear me all. Yes. But, well, so minusing a negative is truly addition. So I'm about to distribute on that right side, right? And so as I'm kind of cleaning up this left-hand side, I would almost turn that into y plus 6 is equal to 3x minus 6. Gee, thanks. That's fine. When you come to class tomorrow, you're going to practice one of these two ideas exclusively. So you're saying I'm a y equals mx plus b person, or I'm a y minus y1 person. I don't care. You could. Well, not that it would be difficult, but it's not necessary because they'll both lead me to the same point. Can you be proficient in both? Absolutely. But I would say you probably should stick with one moving forward. That part may be true. You'll do whatever you want. Yep. It'll say write an equation given this information. How you decide to write it is 100% up to you. Correct. Yep, it will be up to you. Okay. So in this situation, because these two minuses would have turned this into a plus 6, when you subtract the 6 to the other side, your y-intercept would be -12. So I don't know if you had 0 as a y-intercept, if anybody had a 0 there, but it would end up being a -12. All right. I told you 3, so we have 1 left and we're done. If I don't give you a slope, you have to find it first. Now, in the end, so this is exactly what you're saying, Faith. In the end, right here, you'll make this choice. Today, though, we're going to look at using that idea. So that's how you would find your slope. Absolutely. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, if you recall from Friday when we were given 2 ordered pairs, we had to choose one to be a part of our work. The same would be true here. You got to make a decision. Do you want to use the 2 and -3, or do you want to use the 4 and the 1? Yeah. So it would be y minus y1. You don't have this in your notes? You mean the part where I made it get really big and said put this down? Good talk. So this is called point slope form. And the reason it's called point slope form is because you need to have 1 point or 1 ordered pair, and you got to have a slope. And John, you're filling in there, there, and there. Good. Homework is on the corner of my desk right there. You can go pick one up. Well, there won't be because you'll do it before you're done, before you leave here. That's it. So grab one of those off the corner of my desk. I will be looking at your homework here momentarily as soon as we finish this. That's it. So grab one of those off the corner of my desk. There's your slope. So now take your slope in one of these two ordered pairs. I would suggest, Aubrey, that you use this ordered pair here. So I know at this point that my slope is a 2. You are free to use either point. I think you're better off to use that ordered pair because it doesn't involve a negative. That's it. Grab one of those. So I would be writing y minus 1 is equal to 2 times the quantity of x minus 4. Distribute and move the 1, and you're done. Okay, so this method, known as the point slope form, is exactly the same as solving an equation by y equals mx plus b. I think you're right, though, when some of you say that the hardest part here would be remembering the formula. So that's a negative and a positive. This is not a negative, though. Look up there. You got them flip-flopped. You got it. Yep, and you're good. The ordered pair you're plugging in is not a 2 and a 1. It's a 4 and a 1. All right. So x is a 4. Whoops, I don't need this anymore. Okay. So add the 1, and we should be looking for an equation of 2x minus 7. Yeah, you probably should have room to do it on the front, though.